Hello world, this is a demonstration of my scalar fields. First, let's have a look at the simple light and heat systems in action. Here you'll see the ambient light slowly going down as it turns from day to night. When you take a torch and pass it through the scalar field, it becomes lighter again. And when you bring the torch close to one of the bushes, they catch fire. And each bush can set the other bushes on fire, but you need to tweak some of the values for that. And let's have a look at the other scene. This is the water scene. You can see here that the ice torch freezes water that comes near, while the regular torch melts any water that it comes near. And you'll also notice that the ice actually doesn't let the water pass through. So those are the three main systems: light, heat, and water. Pardon me. Okay, so to import the package, you simply select scalarfields.unity package. I've done it already. And you get, excuse me, and you get all the files here. So documentation, examples, runtime, changelog, license, and readme. The package thing is just a little trick, so you can basically take everything, put it under scalar fields in the packages folder, and it will actually stick it in here if if you want it out of the way. The core of the system is here. These are abstract classes. This is the scalar field. It simply has a dictionary holding all the cells, references to the cells, and spawn cells function. And you'll notice that it's actually a template class. I'll get to the template class in just a sec. Same for the scalar cell. That's a template class. And this has all sorts of bits and bobs in it. The real heart of the system is calculate real value, which is used to process each turn as each cell changes its value based on its neighbors. The emitter is just a value, which is used by the cell, by the children of the scalar cell to set the input to the fields, while the receptor keeps track of the last scalar cell that it came in contact with and gives that cell's value. So the emitter is the input and the receptor is the output. If you remember that, you're golden. Here we have examples of scalar fields. They're just the light scalar field, for instance, is just a simple script, a component on a mono behavior, on a empty object. It uses the light scalar cell as a prefab. I'll get to that in just a sec. It has the width and height of the cells and the number of cells across wide and long. Like how many along the x and y axis, sorry. So let's have a look at the light scalar cell. The light scalar cell works by making the sprite renderer more and more transparent or opaque as needed. It also has a bounding box collider, which is a trigger, and light scalar cell is just a script. You don't have to mess with any of the values here. Heat scalar cell is much the same. It also has a trigger box collider. You'll find most things in this have trigger box colliders, and it's just another script. And same with the water prefab, except this is slightly different. This one is not a trigger. Instead, the trigger is actually on a child object. It has a heat scalar receptor underneath it. So the water system actually interacts with the heat system. That's how it melts and freezes. So the water system is pretty tricky, so I wouldn't delve into that first. But these prefabs are provided for you as part of the package under runtime. All the code for them is under the scalar fields directory. You'll notice that that the light, heat, and water classes are all empty. This is to differentiate them from each other. It's basically a trick to allow different classes to inherit from different versions of the scalar field system without interacting with each other unless you actually want them to. So don't worry about that too much. So this is the light scalar field. It just spawns the cells. The light scalar cell, which looks complex, but all it does is keep track of the sprite renderer, obviously, as well as the emitters nearby, because the emitters are done in the child classes rather than the main backbone of the system for some reason. It was just necessary. And again, the emitter is just empty, and as is the receptor. So emitters and receptors are input and output. I think I said that already. Otherwise, the whole thing can just be a black box, and you just tweak a few values, and you use them. Right, I do believe that's everything. Oh, I'll show you how these objects are working. So there's Ash, which is just an object that sits there. There's Bush, which has a rigid body, a kinematic rigid body. Every entity that interacts with the scalar fields should probably have one of those. It has a box collider, which is a trigger, which is absolutely necessary. A sprite renderer, just to draw a picture, and a heat scalar receptor. So when the where is it? Scenes. Simple scene. So when the bush feels the heat turn up, it will catch fire. It will turn into the fire prefab, which emits heat and light, and will automatically transform into ash after a bit. Then you've got the torch, which is a light scalar emitter and a heat scalar emitter. I did have a version of the torch which could be doused in the water, but for this demo, it's no good. You also have a stick which catches fire, turns into the torch as well. Basically, just a few example prefabs here. And transform after delay is just a simple utility script. These sprites are all pretty simple, but I wouldn't use those. Okay, I do believe that's everything. If you have any questions about the system, feel free to ask either on the itch.io page, which is linked below, or in the YouTube comments, or you can DM me directly through Discord, I suppose, if you know who I am. All that lovely stuff. Yeah, this is version 1.0 of the scalar fields. So thanks for watching.